Hi guys, and welcome back to the ECAfrica podcast. We're so excited to have you here. Thank you for liking, subscribing and sharing. We've really enjoyed seeing your comments under our videos. Let us know who you'd like to see next and any questions you have for our entrepreneurs and business owners. We're so excited to see this community grow as we speak about entrepreneurship in South Africa and learn the ins and outs. Today's guest is somebody very exciting. She works in a space that I think is really important that we shine a light on, and also brings to the forefront the solutions that entrepreneurs are driven by and the way that we see a need in our communities. So today we have Tlhogi Ngcobo. I hope I said it right.
You did.
Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you so much, Taynita, for having me over.
We're so excited, and I'm very intrigued by your story, but also about the space that you guys are in. And so I hope that this will be a conversation that people learn something from and also understand the importance of the space that you're in.
Thank you.
So something I like to do and ask our guests to do, because I think nobody can advocate for you as best as you can for yourself, I like to ask our guests to introduce themselves. So tell us a little bit about you, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, so that everybody knows who you are.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll try to keep it brief, right? Map up my journey to where I am today. Okay, so as you said, my name is Tlhogi Ngcobo. So I am from Pretoria. I'm based here in Gauteng. Okay, so my journey with the space that I'm in right now, right? I'm in IT space, right? I'm in an IT space in a social enterprise organization. So my journey really started, I'd say, as little as not going too far, right? In 2005, right? At the University of Pretoria. So after matric, I matriculated in 2004, and I wanted to study the university. I wanted to study BCom, right? I just wanted to study BCom. I got one of the late applicants, and the few courses that still had space, one of them was BCom informatics. At that point, I had no idea what that was, but it was a BCom, right? And I wanted to do a BCom. So then in 2005, I enrolled for my degree. BCom informatics. I was just happy to be having BCom modules, and then I got introduced to the world of informatics as a major, right? I did that from 2005, immediately after that, and then I did my honors, and then I did my master's, right? And then I went into corporate, where then I got introduced into the whole data space, business intelligence, data science. So that's where I am. So fast forward to now, then I started doing a lot of work with Mima, right? Mima Community Shout, where they needed a project manager who had big experience in gathering data, analyzing data, drawing insights from data, right? Then that's how then I ended up in the space that I am in currently with Mima. So just high level of my journey.
But it seems like a journey that's also taken you on different avenues. Like you went into university thinking it was going to be one way and introduced to a whole different area, which I think is something that we say at ECAfrica a lot. Like you never know where your next best thing is going to be, or the thing that will take your heart, because it's important that we are open, right? And we try new things, because so many people come on the show and they tell us their journeys, and I'm always so struck by it, because in the textbooks, on podcasts, on TV, it all sounds like it's such a straight line. You went from A to B to Z, and almost every guest that has come on here has said there's been speed bumps and there's been detours, and that's what actually made me who I am. And so that's very interesting. So something I'm actually quite intrigued about is the fact that you're a woman in STEM. Like that's the buzzword right now. But also you're a Black woman in STEM in a country that can be a little bit difficult to navigate because it is such a white male dominated space. And on top of it, it's a male dominated space. What are some of the challenges, but also some of the triumphs that you've seen being a woman in the sector that you're in?
You know what? There's been so much great progress, actually. Yes, when we started off, right, when I was back in corporate, because after varsity, I was in corporate space for a long time, where, yes, in boardrooms, right, in meetings, right, I was like the only Black female. And whereas because I was in the data space, my journey was more on the programming, right? You're writing SQL codes, you're writing code to just derive insights from data. In that space, you're sitting with developers. It was, yes, mostly male, right? To now, fast forward 2024, you are finding in the data space now is dominated by females, especially in leaderships, right? There's organizations that have been so progressive. Like my friends that I studied with in varsity now, who are still in corporate, they've been now trusted to lead these data departments. Right, so it has moved, it has transitioned, and I think South Africa is really embracing that. Women of color are also capable, right? It's just exposure, giving them a chance to get the skills, and they can literally run any project from beginning to end. They can achieve those goals and objectives if they are clear.
That is so encouraging.
Yeah.
It makes me so excited. And the reason I ask that is because of Mameza, right?
Yeah.
You guys are greatly based in gender-based violence, but also just community upliftment and safety. And so can you give me a little bit of a background on why, or maybe what Mameza is, but also why you guys have chosen a data-centered approach in what you guys are doing?
Okay. Firstly, I'll start with what Mimeza is, right? So Mimeza was founded by Sis Tlhogi Ngcobo, right? Our founder herself actually is also a woman in STEM, right? She was in corporate before she birthed Mimeza in 2012, right? She was in system development herself, right? And she saw a very big gap because her herself was a victim of GBV, right? And in 2012, unfortunately, her sister was brutally attacked, which really there was an itch that she was having when she herself was a victim of GBV, but when her sister was brutally attacked, that wound to her really opened up, and she was like, no, there's something I need to do about this, right? And being a woman of STEM, that solution had to be technology, right? And that's where Mimeza was founded, where now she came up with this innovative solution where we've got tangible technology that can assist GBV. We fight GBV, we reduce GBV. And when we are on the ground, we've developed applications that enable us to gather data from the ground, and then now we draw up insights from all the data that we're gathering. Then we're able to be strategic in implementations of our program.
Which is so encouraging, right? Because I think sometimes we look at a problem and we think it's too big to solve. That mountain feels like you can't climb it. But Mimeza has shown me that you can just take a little bit at a time, and every step that you're taking is progress. So something else that we're very intrigued by in ECAfrica is the technology behind it. And so I wanted to know, what is it like having this enterprise that is a social enterprise, but it's also something that is for the community, but then it's also backed by tech. How has the uptake by the community been? Is it an easy transition for people? Because that's a conversation that's happening across South Africa, to say that we have all these tech solutions, but is it going to be used by the community? And also, are we making it as accessible as we can?
I think with my background, and also with Sis Tlhogi's background, where we understand that technology brings change, right? And some people become very resistant to change. So there's a whole change management process that actually is at the backbone of what we do. If we go into a community to implement one of our solutions, what we'll do community awareness first, right? When you bring in people into a solution and they get to own it, they get to buy into the vision, it's very easy for them to support, right? And it's very easy for the implementation to take place, and it's very easy for everybody to just rally behind it to make sure the solution is implemented. So that has always been our approach, that when we roll out a community, so we'll go into a community, we'll understand the community. There's some communities we go into that are really disadvantaged, that they cannot afford. Some of our solutions are mobile apps that they need data, right? But some of our solutions are quite simple, where they don't even need a smartphone to use to make sure that you've got protection against GBV, right? That will be our personal alarm. So we're able to understand this community, this kind of technology will work, or this community, this kind of technology will work. But when we go in, we make sure that there's awareness campaigns, we educate, we get the community to own it, right? Because then we'll go in, the community itself will employ the people in the community to either become responders of our whole network, because we create responding networks. They'll become responders, and they are within the community. We get the people in the community. We'll get technical support people. We'll train them that are based in that community, right? By the time Mimeza is done with the project, it's theirs. They get to own it because we've taken them through the whole change management process. So it has been very effective for us, I must say.
And you're highlighting the importance of including the community in anything that you're doing, right? Especially when it comes to tech, you want the buy-in from the people that are going to use it for
100%.
and you created the solution for them. So if they're not using it, you've sort of failed. So I think that's so important to talk about the community aspect of it in anything that you're going into. I'm actually just personally very intrigued by the data science informatics. Is that
Informatics.
So can you tell me what is that and why is it a vital skill to have in a business like Mimeza, or just actually in
any business, right?
And especially in this new 4IR, Web3,
artificial intelligence and everything.
Data seems to be this power play, and the ability to make use of data seems to be this really important tool. I mean, it's something that we even think about here. It's something that I'm really passionate about in my own studies. The fact that you can have data to back what you're saying.
Yeah, right. It is a big thing. I mean, data is generated every day, right? Actually, every millisecond, there's new data being generated. Right. So the big thing is, likely for me, when I started my journey in informatics, back then now it's artificial intelligence. Then it was big data, right? There was this big buzzword, big data, business intelligence, right? Then that's when I got to understand the power of data, right? We're collecting data each and every day. So it's really about analyzing that data, understanding the insights from that data. And once you've gathered all those insights, you're able to make better business decisions, really. On strategy level, if it's backed by data, because you're able to pick up trends, right? You're able to forecast, right? And it's not just guesswork. Intuition is good, is great. We encourage it, right? But also, if you've got supporting data that's able to show you this is what has been happening, right? You can get into predictive analysis based on what has happened, and you can play around with different models to say, okay, fine, if this is what has happened, should we apply this type of strategy? How can we predict or forecast what's going to happen? So it's quite big, even in what we do as well, because every single day through our technology, we are gathering data, right? So we've got alarm solutions where a panic alarm, if it's pressed in a household, we are collecting data, right? When is it pressed? What was the response rate on which day of the week? So when we gather that, we're able to analyze to say, look, in a specific area, which is maybe a hotspot, we are seeing that the alarms go off, say, every Thursday between 8 and 9, right? That information we can only analyze if we are collecting every single data that our technology is collecting. And we're able to be mindful when we speak to our partnerships on the ground to say, look, we've identified that in certain areas, please let's make sure that responders are available specifically at this time, because data has shown us that these are the trends. Between this time and this time, there's a high rate of 1, 2, 3. So that's the power of data, and that's the power of data in our space as well.
I love listening to you speak about it, because you speak about data as if it has its own story, right? As if it is being interpreted, and it can also inform the decisions that you're making. And I think it's such a different way of thinking about it. It's not just numbers and symbols, rather it's telling you a story. I remember one of my lecturers always said to us, like, look at the data, it will show you. It will tell you exactly what's happening. And it sounds like such an obvious thing, but when you're in the space of the next best thing, the next this, the next that, taking the time to pause and reflect on what's happening makes you such a better business person, such a better enterprise, such a better, also just somebody who's working, right? It makes you so much better in what you're doing, because you're able to reflect and be like, oh, look how much we've grown, look at how much we've done this. And I think from what we're seeing from our guests, everybody's saying like tech is the next best thing, or tech is so important, but also not letting that tech overwhelm you, and being able to advocate for yourself and to say that these are the trends is so important. So you mentioned earlier when you introduced yourself to us that you are a project manager. Is that what you said?
Yes, I am.
So how does it work when you're dealing with, I'm assuming, diverse groups of people, but also just diverse communities that you guys are in? What do you think is one of the leading challenges that project managers, especially in like the social enterprise space, are seeing, and how have you found solutions to this? Because managing people isn't as easy as it seems, right? Like there is a skill that needs to go with it.
Yeah, I'd say it's a skill. Well, but fortunately for me, I'm really passionate about people, right? I'm passionate about bringing the best out of people, right? And one thing I've realized that normally when there's chaos in a team or anything, most of the times it means there's miscommunication. People are unclear, right, of what's expected of them. So what has been big is making sure that the vision and objectives are always communicated at any point in time. Any key player, any stakeholder understands where we are going. Because if that's the case, you don't get people who are reluctant, you don't get people who are doing something for the sake of just doing something. And normally challenges come in when there is really lack of communication, lack of vision shared. Decisions that are taken right at the top and they're just forced down without the people who must implement understanding what's the bigger vision, right? So that has been, I think, one of the best way, especially and how I manage the project and the teams to make sure that, look, every week we'll have catch-ups. Everybody needs to understand where we're going, if there's any changes, because there will always be scope creep, right? And we're kind of agile in a way that we are flexible. If there's a need that changes on the ground, which we did not anticipate, if you're going to change anything, the whole team must be in on it. The whole team must understand so that nobody gets confused, because when people get confused, then, then that's a recipe for disaster for any project.
Right.
Yeah.
And scenes and chaos and just...
Yeah. Because you get people then who don't deliver because
Right.
they don't know why it's important for them to deliver.
So you need buy-in from your team as well. And also just...
100%.
I like what you're saying, transparency, right?
Yeah,
Like, these are
transparency as to this is where we are going, this is how we're going to implement it, and getting suggestion from the team, because also you must not take for granted that a team has different key players and each role is important. So input from every key player is very important towards the success of the team. It sounds simple, but yes, human beings, right?
Yes, and that's also why I'm saying, like, it is a skill to be able to manage teams and to make sure that your KPIs and your objectives are being met, but in a way that everybody's moving towards the same goal. Because something that we're hearing from just in the spaces about speaking about small businesses or entrepreneurs or startups is that people get burnt out, or the vision gets clouded, or people are stealing ideas, or all these different things that are happening. And a lot of that comes back to communication, and a lot of that comes back to project management and making sure that we're all going towards the same goal. And I think it's something, especially in the entrepreneurship space, that we don't speak about enough. The ability to make sure that as a project, we are winning. And what does winning actually look like? Because who are you competing against? If you're looking at your peers, their goals are not the same as yours.
Exactly.
And that's also okay.
And it's okay. And that's where I think there was a phase not so long ago, stay in your lane. That phase, right? It's exactly that. Stay in your lane. You have your goals, you have your visions, right? Just stay focused. Make sure everybody's still focused, everybody's still aligned. And really, it's going to be success. Yeah. But also what I see with entrepreneurs, what they struggle with, right? Like it becomes their brainchild when, it's an amazing idea. Mm-hmm. They are not confident in other people to share in that idea, probably because maybe they don't know how to communicate the vision clearly, right? What with the founder of Memeza has done, Mrs. Tlhogi, she has been so confident that the people that are part of her team understand the vision, understand the goal, and they will carry it through. So she has that level of trust. So many entrepreneurs, they want to hang on to it because they don't have trust in people, that they get the vision and they will actually carry it through. So it's really, getting a team that you can trust to push your vision. Right. And the people are there. People must not just hawk. Entrepreneurs also, that's why they struggle to scale as well. Right. You still want to do everything yourself.
And I think it's also just knowing, because I think there is grace, right? There is this conversation of you've started by yourself and you've really grown it. And then maybe it is just a matter of like, when do I start integrating more people? When do I start delegating more? When do I start realizing that this business isn't just me and my computer, but it's so much bigger and it has the potential to grow? And so I think that's such a good conversation of what you're saying of know when to delegate, know how to trust your team and to trust that they're going to walk with you. And if a mistake happens, it's also okay. Like it's not the end of the world, right? You will rebuild and you will try, and we've all been through trials and tribulations, and you'll build the muscle. You will become agile. So something else that we're quite interested in ECAfrica is just looking at solutions and problems and why entrepreneurs are the way that they are. And so I'm intrigued in the social enterprise space, which is vast, depending on where you're going. It can be water, it can be green, it can be GBV. Are you guys seeing any trends of how dynamic new entrepreneurs are? Are you seeing a trend of a lot more innovations coming in because of technology, because of young entrepreneurs? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, we are seeing trends, right? What I'm liking now, also, I guess, with this podcast, is that conversations are happening, right? And in these conversations, there's new innovative solutions that have been proposed, right? And now more people are confident because they know no one is coming to save them. More people are now confident to say, look, I have an idea, I have a solution, and I'm really going to give it a try and implement it. And we're seeing a lot of people now becoming entrepreneurs, and we advocate for that because that's where solutions are. That's where jobs are being created, right? That's where inspiration is coming from. I mean, inspiration comes from stories of entrepreneurs.
And also, I guess in the social enterprise space means that you can still do something good.
Yeah.
And make money from it.
Yeah.
And that's not a dirty word, because I think sometimes people are like, what is a social enterprise?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And so I guess what is a social enterprise and what does it mean to you guys? And why do you find it important to do business that way?
I don't know, right? I want to say social enterprise is a calling. I don't know if I should say it's a calling, right? Okay, we spoke about how a career journey can never really just be, predictable. Like my trajectory has been like, when I left varsity, it was really, I'm going to be in corporate. I'm going to climb the corporate ladder, right? And then I left 2016, and then I was in business, business space, and then I came and started working with Mima. I would have never thought I would work for an NGO that fights GBV, right? Of course, I mean, I'm doing a master's in informatics, right? What are you doing at an NGO, right? But then, right, and then you get touched by the impact. So social enterprise really is about impact, right, into the society. The work that you're doing, you're waking up every day, your work is purpose-driven, right? It's amazing. On Sunday, when it's Sunday, the sun is about to set, when people are like, oh my gosh, tomorrow is Monday. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Monday. Because I get up and I live on purpose, right? Yes, and we get, like you said, we do get paid. You make a living from it, right? But it's really that social enterprise going to do work that is good for the community. It's purpose-driven. It has real impact that you can measure.
And like I'm saying, it's not a bad thing, right? To have businesses, and that's what they are. They're businesses that impact the communities that they're in, because economic empowerment is so important, and it's vital to the economy. It's vital to the families that work for these social enterprises. It's vital for the owners of these businesses. But it also means that I would say if you have more capital, you can do more things. And so to almost take away the taboo of this conversation and say these social enterprises are on the ground doing the work, and they're impacting the communities that they're in really tangible ways, because it's not just like you guys are going into the community and saying, we want to bring safety, and not giving them the tools, because you're doing both of those things with an education and a business mind behind it, which I think is very, very important. As we get close to ending, I always ask my guests two things before they leave. So the one is, are there any businesses that you're thinking of, any entrepreneurs? We like here at ECAfrica to shine our lights on our communities and the people around us, because who knows more about your community than you or me? And we've learned about so many cool businesses through this. So is there any podcasts you're listening to, any YouTubers, just anybody that's on your radar right now?
Okay, because we're shooting this in ECAfrica, don't shoot me down. So in terms of podcasts, I love, also really maybe because I understand I work for an NGO, right? And I needed to understand that money is important, but it's not very important, because the work that I do fulfills me, right? So I had to then tap into a space where I needed to know how to manage my money very well, right? So there's this podcast by Jespri, Minority Mindset. I don't know if anyone has heard of it. People must check it out, right? He is so good on money management, on increasing different streams of income.
So good.
Right. So that has also, I guess, applying most of the principles from that has allowed me to stay in the space that I am and do work that makes me happy without always thinking money, 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 because I manage my money better now. Right. I'm in a space where everything is just aligned, I manage my money better. So I'd say, for one, that is one of the podcasts. And in terms of entrepreneurship, I'm seeing a lot of, which I love, I'm seeing a lot of people studying mentorship programs. There's a close friend of mine also who does mentorship. She's in corporate. She's actually a chief data analyst.
Cool.
Right? Female, Black, in a big bank.
Yeah.
Right? She also runs like a mentorship program. Sorry for that. Mentorship program. So as a business as well. So then what she'll do is she'll get people who are in corporate to mentor individuals who probably graduated. And they're struggling to get employment, because we do know the employment rate is very high. So yeah, those are the type of things I look out for. Really self-development one way.
I think that's so interesting. I'm going to definitely give the podcast a listen to.
Please
It's
do.
always very interesting to learn how to move your money, manage your money.
Yeah.
Also, financial education is something that I think we don't speak about enough.
We don't. And sadly, our school system still refuses to cover it, right? I'll say still refuse to cover it because I think there's been a lot of people who have written books. I have a friend who's an author as well on financial literacy for kids. You know, you're trying to get your books to be in the schools. There's a lot of red tape in that as well because, I don't know, for some reason, the system is not yet allowing financial literacy at school level to be seen as important as it is. I guess they know why, but yeah, it's something I believe it's still lacking in our education system.
Yeah, because when you know how to use your money, make money, keep, save, invest
For
it
the
changes
future.
the game because it means you can start legacy building and generationally transferring wealth from one to the next to the next. So
and understanding that just because you have 100 rand, it doesn't mean all the 100 rand must go away. Yeah, because people get the money to just spend and spend and spend, you know, not understanding that you must actually, there's a concept of pay yourself. I don't know if you've heard of it. Like once you earn money, first pay yourself before you pay your Edgar's, sorry, am I mentioning brands? Before you pay your retail stores, right? So they see spending money at a shop as paying those shops. So you did not pay yourself. You got paid. You did not leave anything for you. You just left. You just went to go buy shoes. You went to buy clothes. You went to party. You didn't pay yourself. You paid everyone else. Right? So it's that concept of pay yourself. And what does pay yourself look like? It's having an investment where money is there, interest is compounding for you.
that's so good. That's so good. I'm actually going to even implement that in my own day to day. And then the last question we ask our guests is, what is one piece of advice that you've been given or a piece of advice that you give out to young entrepreneurs, to young people in business? What is something that you would tell them?
I'll tell them to give it a go. What's the worst that could happen, right? Give it a go. If you have that vision, remember your vision is yours, right? It's all good and well to bounce off your ideas through other people. But be careful because it was given to you. It's your vision. Only you can understand it. Don't let people convince you that your vision is not a vision. It is your vision. So mine is always give it a go. Give it a go. Do it. Most of these organizations, it's because they started somewhere. It was somebody who had a vision and they give it a go. And it worked out.
Yeah. That is such good advice.
Yeah.
And I hope that people will take it of just try.
Just try.
And do so in a manner that is safe and calculated and all of this stuff.
Yes,
but you're always going to think about what did they say? You're always going to think about the shots you didn't take.
Yes, the shots that you didn't take. You might as well just try. Give it a go. Use what you have. So another thing is I find that people think you always need money, a lot of money to start anything. And I always believe you already have what you need.
That's so good. We actually had a guest who said almost the exact same advice of if you have a pen and paper, use what you have, move with it, and you can build up to what you need to get to. So that's such good advice. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on our show. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us and sharing so generously of your story. We really appreciate you being here. So you guys can like, subscribe, share widely. We're ECAfrica on everything. And where can they find you?
So you can find me personally. I am on LinkedIn as Tlhogi Ngcobo. I'm on LinkedIn. I am on social media on Instagram. Yeah, but Mimeza is also on all channels. We are on social media on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on LinkedIn.
So find you guys anywhere.
They can find us anywhere. You can even go to our website, actually. I will encourage you to go to our website. www.mimeza.co.za. You'll see this amazing technology I'm speaking about.
And I would also recommend definitely giving them a look up because you guys are doing such great work. So thank you again for being here. I hope it was enjoyable to you as well because I think I've learned so much.
It was.
So yeah.
Thank you for the platform.
Perfect. Bye guys. We'll see you next time.